Hey guys, I'm Jordan and you're watching Fixbook. After watching this video, your car problems stand about as much a chance as this laptop does against my hot lead. Now, make sure you stay tuned so you can see what happened to the laptop at the end of this video. And as always, don't forget to subscribe, like, and leave a comment down below. So today I'm going to be showing you how to change the power steering pump on a Pontiac Sunfire. Okay guys, for today's video I used a 3/8 ratchet, a 1/4 inch ratchet with a 1/4 to 3/8 adapter. I also used a universal joint, a 13mm socket, a 14mm socket, an extremely small 14mm socket along with a 15mm socket. I also used another 3/8 extension, a long flathead screwdriver, a short flathead screwdriver, a 15mm, 16mm combination wrench, a magnet. You'll also find a flashlight very handy, power steering fluid, and your new power steering pump, of course. These are all going to be needed for this power steering pump replace project. Okay guys, the first thing you'll want to do is go ahead and remove your drive belt. Now, I have a full-length video of this, but you're about to see a much shorter version of that full-length video. If you want to see the full-length video, just do a YouTube search for Fixbook Pontiac belt and you'll get that full-length video. Now, the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and look over this way and start removing that power steering pump. Alright guys, so basically I'll show you a full view of everything here. So I've got my ratchet on that bolt. I'm just going to go ahead and push it down like so. I'll be able to take this belt off. Now I'm just going to bring my ratchet up and I'll begin removing the belt. I'm going to come around here, and I know you can't see everything, but I'll try and get a better shot here when I'm installing everything so you can see exactly what's going on. And that may or may not be a possibility, so we'll just have to see now. It's basically as easy as that, is what you just saw me do there. It's all you have to do to remove this drive belt. So I've also drawn this diagram for you guys, and I'll kind of get zoomed in on it there and talk about it for a second when we're going to put it back together. But for now, I'm going to reset up so you can see exactly what you need to do when you go to install your new drive belt. And I'm also going to show you how to inspect it and see whether you need a new drive belt or not as well. Okay, and actually, instead of looking that way at your power steering pump right here, we're actually going to be looking right here, because due to the laws of physics, my camera's about 8 inches thick, and the space I would need to put the camera in to actually show you what I'm doing is about 1 inch or half an inch thick. I'm not going to be able to get the best shot of that, so I'm just using my new power steering pump here as an example, and you can kind of see what it looks like. Basically, we have these 3 bolts, and they're going to be right here, and the pulley is made in such a way that it has 3 holes, and you can kind of rotate that pulley to get to these bolts. So basically what we'll be doing is we'll go ahead and remove, I like to remove the hardest bolt first, so we'll go ahead and remove this bottom bolt. You'll spin the pulley to where you can feel the bottom bolt. You won't even be able to see it yourself, but you'll be able to feel it. And then after we remove that bolt, we're going to remove these 2 bolts by turning the pulley again, and then both these bolts will be exposed. And I will maybe be able to show you just a little bit the pulley, me rotating it, and you might be able to see my fingers touch the bolts, but you won't be able to see the bolts themselves. So we'll go ahead and remove those bolts there. You'll use a 13mm socket to do so. And also, right about we get this bolt off and we get just about to get these bolts off, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and begin removing the power steering pump hoses. We got one right here, and we also got one right here, because I do not have a drain pan, and the earth, it'll be okay. I'm just gonna spill a little bit of fluid. So what I'm gonna be doing is I'll be removing the power steering pump as quickly as possible so I don't spill a whole bunch on the ground. And I'm sure all the animal lovers and tree huggers are gonna want to have me noosed for saying that I'm gonna spill some on the ground and the earth will be just fine. We'll be replenishing the oil supply. Yeah, I'm sure they'll love that. So we'll go ahead and do that, and I'll show you here me removing the power steering pump and kind of the whole process. You may not be able to see much, so I'll shorten it a little bit here, but you will see me do everything that you need to see, and you just saw me explain everything to where you can see it. So this video will be beneficial, but you won't get to see me do everything exactly. So with all that said, let's go ahead and look here at our power steering pump and let's see me take it off. Alright guys, so like I said, you're not going to be able to see what I'm doing, but I did get some really good pictures and they will be popping up on the screen right now. And these are the pictures of the pulley bolts, and I just got a bunch of different ones there. And when it comes to taking the hoses off too, I've done the same thing because you're not going to really be able to see me all that well, so I'll have those hose pictures up. And I was thinking of it a little bit ago. I said, hey guys, I'm going to try and change this power steering pump really quick, and I forgot that the pulley has to come off somehow, and I haven't yet discovered how to do that, so I will do that as I get to it. And don't worry guys, I'll know exactly what I'm talking about by the time you see me doing it in the video. So I just want to let you know that I probably won't be changing this really quick, and all the critters that live under the ground are probably going to suffer and die. No, I'm just kidding, it's not going to be that bad. So I'm just going to take this bolt out and just use your imagination guys. Imagine the bolt coming out. It is coming out. It's not imaginary, it's really happening, you just can't see it. So I'm going to pull him out here. He's kind of hard to handle around this pulley, but that is okay. Also, I'm wearing gloves too, that doesn't make it any better. So I got the one out, and I'm going to begin working on this other one. And what you want to do here is you'll be untwisting it there with your right hand, and you'll take your left hand and just kind of get down in there around that pulley, and you'll be able to use your pointy finger on your left hand to kind of push that bolt and pull them out there. You'll just kind of take it and push, and that's how you'll work your bolts out. And now I'm just going to go and spin my pulley and begin on my next bolt. Alright guys, and the next thing we'll do is I'm going to get on that last bottom bolt there, and the one you just saw me out and I described, you're going to use your left hand to kind of pull the bolt out. That was actually the left one. I didn't do the bottom one first like I said I was going to do, but for this bottom one you're going to want to get the pulley in such a way that the hole is kind of sitting diagonally off to the right there. And I'm going to use a 13mm socket and a universal joint with tape around it, and then I'll use this extension as well. So I'm going to go ahead and set them up on there, and I'll set them up like this, and then I'll put my extension on there as soon as I can see what I'm doing. There we go. And I'll just set my extension on there, and it doesn't take that long, just like you saw me there. And go ahead and make sure my ratchet is going the right way, and I'll get him on there as well. And just go ahead and begin to loosen him up there. And there we go. I'm in a good position. But I've already got them loosened up, so basically what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and take my universal joint socket there and the socket, and I'll just use him kind of as a screwdriver, as I've done so many times in the past. And it does take just a second to get them on there. So, and we've got them on there once again. So now I'm just going to twist them off there nice and easy. I'll take my time. Alright guys, and he's real loose there. I can feel like he just about came off. And for this bottom one, I'm just going to use this magnet right here. I'm going to reach down in there, and I'll just pull them out just like that. Now, before I go ahead and loosen that last bolt there, I'm going to go ahead and begin working on these poses. I believe one of them here we're going to have to take a combination wrench to loosen them up, and we'll pull them off and we'll kind of set them off to the side there. And then the other one is going to be one of those hose clamp deals where you got to take a screwdriver and loosen them up, and we'll pull them off as well. Alright guys, so while the power steering pump is still kind of tight in there with that one bolt, I'm going to go ahead and come over to this hose. It's got a threaded fitting on it, and it appears to be a 16mm fastener, but it's a little loose on there and the 15 doesn't quite fit on there, so I'm guessing you're going to need to use a standard tool, but I don't actually carry any standard tools, so I'm either going to use this 16 or I'll use an adjustable that I have. We'll see how this works. And it came loose with the 16, so once I retrieve my 16mm combination wrench, I'm going to continue to undo this hose right here, and I'll set him off to the side. After you've broken this hose loose, the fitting, the threaded fitting that's on it there, it just kind of twists right off. It's not on there too bad, although you may have a different situation. I'm just going to loosen them up here, and if fluid starts to really pour out, I'll just kind of set them back on, since I will need to take this guy off, and I'm gonna need to switch around the pulleys here, but I'm gonna set them off here, and I got our metal power steering hose out here, and fluid wasn't just pouring out of the reservoir, so I'll go ahead and just kind of set my hose off here to the side, and then I'm gonna work on that other one there with the hose clamp on it. Alright, and now I'm working on that hose with the hose clamp, and again, I know you guys, you're not going to be able to see what I'm doing, but you should see pictures popping up right now that will show you exactly what I'm working on. I'm just slowly loosening this hose clamp right here, and once we get this guy off, I'm not going to go ahead and take the hose off. I'll first remove the other bolt that was sitting there in that power steering pump, and then I'll get it set up to where I can just remove this hose, and then I'll go ahead and pull the pump off, and I'll try and set up that hose in such a way that it's not going to leak any fluid. What I have here is this flat pair of vice grips, and I'll use that to close the hose off a little bit, which will keep it from leaking. They also make a special tool for this where they've got smooth edges here, but you can use a flat pair like this just as long as you don't bear down too hard on it. It's not going to hurt the hose there, so that's what I'll do with the flexible hose, but you obviously can't do that with the hard metal hose. Alright guys, and now I've got my ratchet on that bolt right there, and I've got a picture, you should be seeing it right now, showing you exactly what to do there. And I'm just going to go ahead and take him off, and once we get this guy off, we'll really be riding right along here, and we should have our power steering pump off here in just moments to come. It'll be getting right off here. Alright guys, and I finally got that bolt loosened up here, and again, we're just going to take our magnet, and I'm going to reach down in there, and we'll just pull them out just like that. Now, we've got the 3 bolts that are holding the power steering pump in, so we should be able to wiggle them right off here. And then our next obstacle will be this hose clamp here right attached to the power steering pump. So I'm going to kind of rock them back and forth like you're seeing me do here, and in moments it'll just come right up. And you're just going to rock it back and forth like this. And while you're rocking it back and forth, you're going to kind of pull up at the same time. It's just going to sit down there in this bracket we got. So we're just going to wiggle and pull up. And before you know it, it should be popping out here. But before we do that, we're going to make sure we completely remove that other hose clamp and remove that last hose. And I'm also going to close that hose off with this guy right here, and we'll be able to pull our power steering pump right out. Alright guys, so I've got my last hose unplugged there, and what I did was just set him off to the side. He's not really leaking too much, so I've got my finger covering where that last hose came off, and I'm just going to kind of pull up here, and I'm going to try and not let all that fluid pour out there. Okay guys, so I was telling you about how there was the 3 bolts in the front here. There was also one last sneaky little bolt there in the back as well, and by the time I'd shooken him around so much, he was already loosened up, so we'll be able to just go ahead and take this guy out. But first we're going to remove this engine bracket right here. We've got what looks to be about a 17mm bolt sitting right there. Go ahead and take him off, and I'm not 100% sure that's what it is, but I'll verify that here in just a moment when I show you me taking that bolt and bracket off. Alright, so here we are. You can't see the bracket and bolt, but that's okay because I just showed you. It's actually a 15, not a 17. So I'm just going to go ahead and loosen them up, and you're going to do it just like you're seeing me do here. I'm going to go ahead and loosen this bolt. I'm going to go ahead and take them out, and once we get this bracket out of the way, it's going to make life a whole lot easier when we're trying to remove this pump. So we'll just take our little bracket and bolt and set him off to the side now. We should be able to get this guy out here pretty easily. And by the way, it kind of was sitting down there like that, so once you wiggle and pull it up, you're going to be about in the same situation I am. So we should just be able to pull it up around here, and your power steering pump will come out just like this. And I did go ahead and just drain that reservoir there, so I don't have the fluid going everywhere. Okay guys, now the next thing we're going to need to do is we will have to use a puller type tool to remove this pulley so we can put the old pulley on our new power steering pump, since we don't need a new pulley. So what we'll do is we're going to come over here to our set. We're going to go ahead and get this guy set up. We're going to begin by taking this piece right here. I'm going to go ahead and set him down in. He just kind of sets in right like that. Then we'll grab our other 2 pieces. I'm going to set this guy right there like that. Then we're going to set our little round piece, and this little set is specifically made for removing pulleys. I'm gonna just set them right there like that. Then I'll go ahead and set this guy over.